Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a Zoom meeting with my pageant coach Victoria, and we're just going to talk about feedback from the pageant, and then I'm also going to just talk about my experience. So now I am going to join our Zoom or our Google Meet. Hi.
Hi. Okay, let's go. So, I liked the opening dance. I think your dance was strong.
Contestant number 1.
Okay, so this is a consistent thing, is whenever you were walking parallel to the stage, you oftentimes didn't look at the audience enough. So if you look at your walk to the mic, you're spotting your spot at the mic, and so it took you a bit to finally look towards the audience.
23.
You had a very strong, powerful opening, but it felt a little rushed. But at the same time, I understand because we had changed the intro last minute to fit the time limit.
Thank you.
And you took your time after saying thank you for a brief moment to pause, and then you walked off. And as you were walking off, you looked at the audience while you're walking off, which is good. Okay, so one feedback that I heard from a lot of people was that a lot of people couldn't see you while you were, since your dance was only on the floor and not on the stage. But because of the safety purposes, it totally made sense to only do it on the floor. So that it, even though it wasn't in your control, it still ended up being a disadvantage to you. Here, okay, so here's your talent. We should have emphasized how difficult point is versus regular ballet. There were people in the audience who were like, wow, she's on point. And a lot of people knew, in the audience at least, that were in pageants, like related to pageants or have done a pageant, knows that point is really difficult. But I don't think the judges knew. I didn't even know. Like, I think you're really humble about the fact that you're able to do point. And so I wasn't even clear that how difficult point was until other people told me. So as a judge, with someone who's not familiar with point or with ballet at all, they wouldn't know, oh, wow, that was really, really difficult. So going forward, if you did a pageant again, add into your intro, into your talent intro, that point is of a higher level of ballet that not everyone can do. And obviously there's like a way to put it that doesn't sound like, oh, you're being super show-offy or something. Then that would give the judge's perspective of how difficult it was.
So next we have...
And then, oh, and also another feedback I get always is that being number 1 is always the most difficult, because the judges have to think of basically with any class, there's a score bell curve, and they're trying to figure out what that curve is. And since you're number 1, they use you as kind of like the baseline for everyone else. And that especially hurt you during Q&A, but we'll get to that later. But also, like with intro, for example, they have an idea of generally how long the intros will be, because I don't think the judges actually know that you guys have a time limit, which is really sad, because if you're being penalized for it, the judges should know too, but they don't. So they base off of you as to how long the intro should be and how fast this should be spoken. And if other people are taking their time despite going over the time limit, then they're going to be like, oh, well then why did Megan rush it? Like, why did she go so fast? But they wouldn't understand it's because you're trying to stay in the limits that the producers told you to. So now let's go into swim. Very good posture. You have amazing posture. You swung those hips. You looked at the judges as you were walking off. This was good. This was really good. You had a lot of energy. But then when you came out, you didn't look at the audience enough. When you walked off, you looked at the audience the whole time. So that was good. So in general, I felt like the swim, it was very high energy. The walk itself, you executed exactly how we practiced, but the poses seemed uncertain. Okay, so for Q&A. And
I am now happy to say that I'm dancing professionally with Madison Ballet.
Your fingers together, you bent your arms just a little bit, you pulled your shoulders back, you had a great smile, you really took your time.
My life has been getting
You look side to side.
to the next level of my dancing career. Being a dancer
It sounded like you were a little nervous, but this is your first pageant, so I totally understand. You really pushed yourself. You were projecting. So despite you being so far away from the mic, we could still hear you, which was good.
No matter their background and no matter their circumstances. Thank you.
So I like the tone you use for saying this whole thing though, because you have this really sweet, engaging voice, and a lot of people don't have that. And I think you should really utilize that to your advantage. I would like you to think about focusing less so on like the movements and just keep it solid. And if you keep it solid, people can never deduct points for that. They would just be like, okay, she's poised. Poised could mean that you just keep it right there and don't move it. Especially because the focus of the Q&A portion is really your answer and your facial expressions, and less so your arms. So the less you do with your arms, the better. But you did project, which was good, so we could hear you, and it wasn't in a way that was screaming either. So it was very calm and comfortable to listen to. So that was your Q&A. So you had a good pose with your crowning, and your dress looks great. It has the gold, so despite it being black, it has the gold on it, so it really popped. So that's good. Your hair looked much better during crowning, probably just because it was all up. It was out of your face, which was nice. Whole experience afterward. I was very proud of you for Jamie told me that you got up every morning super early to to put in your hair that you curled the night prior, and you put on your full face makeup, and you went out there and you kept a smile on your face the whole time, and you're super friendly the whole time. And I'm very proud of you for that. That's the perfect attitude. And I also felt like whenever you were like posting and engaging, like people were really motivated by that. They felt FOMO in that. They wanted to like be a part of it and to like post themselves too. Other pageants will probably, they already asked, like Miss Asian Global asked me to recruit you for their pageant. But like, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Like I don't know why I'm looking at this. I should just look at you. You did an amazing job for your first pageant. Like all of us were thoroughly impressed. We're like, wow, like you took feedback very, very well. There were certain things, as I already pointed out, that you had changed the last minute that I did not expect. But for the most part, what I told you to fix last minute, like literally the day before at rehearsal, you fixed. And so you're very good with taking feedback. I know you worked extremely hard for this, and it showed just how hard you work. And also like you being camera shy, you still put yourself out there. And that's something that so many people can't say that they did. You pushed yourself, like you followed through with your words and saying that when an opportunity comes, take it. And you did. You took the opportunity and you ran with it and you really worked hard on it. So I cannot emphasize enough that you did an amazing job for your first pageant. This is also a very difficult pageant too, because it's a 2-week process, and yet they still normally you'd have a full week to rehearse with the group, but you had to rehearse on your own. Everyone had to rehearse on your own. Then you basically had like no full dress rehearsal, but you still managed it so well. And I think that and I'm not trying to push you either way, because I know you also want to focus on your dance career. You have a lot going on. But if in the future you do decide to do a pageant, I think you'd be a very strong contestant. And now you know how a pageant generally works. As long as you know what your value is and where you stand and you're unbothered by them, then I say go ahead. If you want to try another pageant, I would say Miss Asian Global could be an option. So that was a lot in a very short amount of time. Oh, wait, okay, I gotta go.
Okay.
But so proud of you, girl. Keep me posted.
Okay, thank you. It was good seeing you. Bye. Hey guys, so I just wanted to do an overview of my whole experience. So overall, I would say that my experience was extremely great. The girls, all of my pageant sisters, they were amazing from day one. We clicked just like that, and in just 2 weeks, we all got really close. And I think without them being so wonderful, my experience would have been a lot different. Going in, I was a little nervous because you hear a lot about pageants and girls being nasty to each other and like stories about the past. So it was really great to have a wonderful group of girls. I was a little disappointed that I didn't place or receive anything. I just worked extremely hard on this, and it took a lot of time out of my busy schedule. So I just want to come on and say how busy my schedule actually was. So I was dancing full-time with Madison Ballet, and on top of that, I was working another job. And because I wasn't living in Chicago, a lot of my rehearsals were actually on Zoom and not in person. I think I maybe had 4 in-person rehearsals or 5. And a lot of those rehearsals had to be at least 4 hours long, just to make sure that we really used our time wisely to prepare for the pageant, because there was a lot of preparation that went into it. The opportunity to be a part of that pageant, I was able to learn more about my culture, which I really wanted to do. I was able to come out of my shell a little bit. I'm really shy, but I think that opportunity has allowed me to speak up more and to express myself more and not to be quiet all the time. And even starting this YouTube channel, I don't think I would have had the courage to do all of this when I was younger, but going through the pageant and learning more about myself and about my culture, it has made me grow tremendously as a person. And I wouldn't have traded this experience for anything. It was extremely wonderful. Being in San Francisco, it was so beautiful. Just the food that we ate was so good, and I am so grateful that I was a part of it. So for any girls that are considering doing a pageant or even Miss Chinatown USA, I highly recommend it. I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. I've gained lifelong friends that are all across the US, and I've been welcomed into this community that is very different from my dance community, but I am so happy to be a part of it. I am actually going to be helping my pageant coach Victoria with her pageant on August 27th in Chicago for Miss Chinese Chicago, and I will definitely be there to support the girls and to support Victoria.